Good morning. Welcome back to Chassidus Before Coffee. Sorry, been out for 2 weeks, but we're going about to learn a mimer that's actually a continuation from the last mimer we were middle of learning. And this mimer was actually said on a random Tuesday. So I was wondering, why would the Rebbe say a mimer on a random Tuesday? And this year, Tafshin Lamed, is the year when the Rebbe said this mimer was when the Rebbe had the Mashiach Sefer Torah written, and Chassidim came from all over the world to celebrate for Yud Shvat that year, including my great-grandfather from Australia, and there was a big contingent from Eretz Yisro, and they came, and they were leaving on Tuesday, Chaf Shvat, and the Rebbe said a sicha and a mimer for them. In fact, the Rebbe said it's a very famous sicha that he said to them about Hatzlacha B'Zman, having success in time management. So anyway, getting along, the Rebbe is going to ask basically 3 questions here. We're going to go through them pretty quickly because it is a long mimer, and I'd like to try to cover some of the ground over the next few days. So let's get into it and hold on tight. Hashem spoke these words, these things, saying. So this is from this week's Parsha, which is the Asar Satibras, the 10 Commandments. So here we go. It's known the point that the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, makes with regard to this verse. The word lemar, saying, right, telling over, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't have any understanding. And it's not like any other, when we say lemar elsewhere in the Torah, it's not like other times when we say lemar, say it over, tell it over to someone, right? That's what the word lemar means. Like, hey, this is the go and tell John that you should give Nick 50 cents. That's lemar. That's what lemar means. So this lemar is not like any other. Shepirosh lemar luzulase, because it means to tell someone else. Because by the 10 Commandments, the Asaras Adibres, 10 utterances, you can't say this. Because the whole entire Jewish people were there, and they all heard. And the Medrash tells us all Jews heard the 10 Commandments, those that were present physically and those that would eventually be, like you and I. Mevar, so therefore there's no to tell to who. If you're telling the 10 Commandments to the Jewish people, who are you saying lemar, saying to who? There's no one to talk to. Mevar, Shapir's lemar, who? Lemar l'daber is kol ha'divrei HaTorah, mashkvar nemer l'meish Sinai. What does lemar mean? Tell the things that were sent to Moshe Sinai, to Moshe, tell them over. So what does he say? When he says lemar here, it's to give us the nesinas keich, the ability, and in the future, when we'll tell over halacha, things of Torah, it'll be like we're saying it from Moshe Sinai. That God gave the Jewish people the Torah. And in a way that it will be in a way of telling it over later in the future, in this type of way, to tell it over to someone else. That every person has the ability to teach Torah. That through the Jewish people learning Torah at every time and every place in future, it will be as if Hashem is giving the Torah at that moment, like He gave it at Mount Sinai, when a Jew will teach Torah, will learn Torah. As our rabbis have stated, that when a person learns Torah, is reading Torah and learning Torah, Hashem stands opposite him and is reading and learning together with him. That's what the rabbis say. So that's the explanation of lemar, and the question and a little answer. Mamshech v'kasav. He continues in the pasuk, in this mimer scene. And Anochi Avalikecha, I am Hashem, your God. It says in the pasuk, right? Anochi. It's known the point made with regard to this verse. Seemingly, it's not understood. How could he say on God? He's saying, "You know who I am? I am Hashem, your God." Because that's only relevant to a person, a physical being that's saying, "Oh, I am this. I am Mandy Dolphin." That you can say by a human being who has a body. Anaichi, I, me. Like here, you see me? So how can you say that on God? So what does it seem to say? That Hashem, we say, Anaichi Hashem, I am Hashem your God, is Sha'anaichi who siman alavayikecha. Anaichi, when it says I, it's a sign on God. That it's a sign on Havaya Likecha, on the other names of God, Havaya and Likecha. And since we know who is Anaichi, and since we know who Anaichi is, therefore we know who Havaya Likecha is. We know who, when we say, because it says, I am Andy Dolphin, right? So you know who a Mandy Dolphin is because I'm saying I am Andy Dolphin. So this is the same thing. We're saying Anochi Havaya Likecha. I am Hashem your God. I'm Havaya Likecha. Okay. So hopefully we understand this question and the structure of it. Now seemingly, it seems that it should be on the contrary. The Bishlema b'negei l'shem Havaya, with regard to Havaya, the name Havaya, Yudke Vavke, Miloshin Mahave, it comes from the translation. It comes from the wording of Mahave, to create. They're able to understand who God is from His creations. You say the Torah, as the Rambam explains in Yisro the Torah. How do you come to a position to love and fear God? Through seeing God's creations, you come to having a love and a fear of God. Right? So you start to know God and you start to fear Hashem. So that's Yudke Vavke Havaya. Now what about Likecha? Likecha also. Shalikim hu melashakech lechelas. Elikim, the name of God, Elokim, is from a wording of a power and ability. That from God comes all abilities and power in the world. Because even someone who doesn't see within creation how wondrous God is, nonetheless he sees the nature that's within the world. And from nature he comes to recognition of God, and from the level of God of Elokim, which Elokim is the numerical value of Hateva, of nature. And this is a whole discussion. Chassidus mentioned elsewhere, Havaya and Elikecha, Elokim is Gematria Teva, nature, the way we see it, it conceals the godliness within the world. The godly aspect that conceals the godly God, Yudke Vavke, which is the name of God, the way He's the creator of the world, is concealed by Hateva, by nature, by Elokim, by this other name of God, which is one of concealment, which allows for creation, and it looks like nature. In general, these are two different knowledges, understandings in godliness. One with regard to the way God fills the world and creates everything in an organized manner, level after level, which is Elikecha, your God, Elikecha, this name of God. And another way a God operates and energizes the world, which is Seiv Kolamin, which is unencompassed energy, which is Havaya Yudke Vavke, that name, the Tetragrammaton, the name of God. However, we're back to Anechi. I. As the Zohar explains, is that name Anechi Misha Anechi? I am who I am. Right? What does that tell you? The loy Islam is loy b'shum loy shum kites. I'm not alluded to in any letter and any branch, anything. In the Torah, there's the letters and then there's the kites. There's those little sticking out, little thorns kind of sticking out. So I'm not in any of that. That's I am who I am. That's Anochi. So how can you say, in order to know who is Havai Elokecha, Yudke Vavke, and Elokecha, Elokim, those two names of God, who creates the world and creates Teva, I am who I am. I don't know who you are. You're God. I can't see you. I can't feel you. And I don't know how to relate. What does that mean? Okay. Umamshich Bekasuv, one last question. Umamshich Bekasuv, and he explains, continues in the verse, Asher Tzisichem Eretz Yisrael, who took you out of the land of Egypt. The Baal Hakira, like the Kuzari and others, ask this same question. They already asked this question. God should have said a greater thing. Why does God say in the Torah, I am the one who took you out of the land of Egypt? They should have said, I'm the one who created heavens and earth. Why? And I took you out of Egypt. I am your God and I took you out of Egypt. It seems less than. Which creation of heaven and earth is something from nothing, which is an impossibility. I took you out of Egypt is yesh me yesh, seemingly. I took you from one thing to another thing. Okay, what's the greatness in that? That's greater than creation from ex nihilo, from nothing to something. And this question is greater, even especially based on what the Alter Rebbe says in his Igeres HaKodesh. She'esavos yesh mi'ayin ve'efes hamuchlot hi dafke muhusi v'atzmusi shel ha'matzel baruch hu shematziyosei hu me'atzmusi ve'eni olam ezi ilo shekam leichas shalom. The creation from something to nothing is specifically from God's essence, and his essence is from no cause that caused it, that came before God. There's nothing that came before God. God forbid. And that's why only God can create something from nothing. So we have to understand the question is just greater. Why would God say, I took you out of Egypt, not I created heavens and earth? So the question is just stronger. So we'll stop here, and God willing, tomorrow we'll continue. Have a fantastic day. Mashiach now. Shalom, shalom. L'chaim.